Hello gorgeous, welcome back to my channel, or hello if you're new. If you're new, it means so much if you guys join my YouTube channel and click that subscribe button because I do drop videos every single Tuesday and Thursday. But as you guys can tell by the title, it is another story time, and today's actually a part 2 of a story I dropped not too long ago, almost 3 months ago. And if you guys haven't seen that video, I will link it above and down below. I totally recommend watching that video first and then coming back here because this is just gonna be kind of like a continuation and more elaboration, because to be completely honest, I feel like I was holding back a little bit there. I wasn't sharing everything, and something also that happened to me that was actually really scary and traumatic for me, and I kind of want to talk about it. So it means so much if you guys listen, and I think that this topic could be really relatable. And also what happened to me that was very scary and traumatic, I feel like it's also just good to talk about, to bring awareness, because these things do happen. I definitely skipped that part in the last video just because I was kind of nervous to talk about it. The topic of the story time is toxic fake friends. If you guys like my story times, it means so much if you thumbs up the video. I will also link down below my storytime playlist, so if you guys want to check out any other videos, definitely do so. And with that being said, let's just jump right into it, because I know this is going to be a long one, a rambly one. Grab a snack, grab a drink, let's have a chat. Before I jump into the actual story, I kind of wanted to read to you the definition of a toxic person and the signs of a toxic person. A toxic person is anyone whose behavior adds negativity and upset to your life. Signs a person is toxic include: you're left feeling emotionally exhausted after an encounter with them. They try to intimidate you to get their way. They control you by guilt tripping. They are easily jealous. They constantly see themselves as the victim. They give backhanded compliments, and they're overly defensive. If that does not sum up this person, then I don't know what does. This story was very tricky for me, especially in the first one, because it's a really sticky situation. It has to do with my very close friend, which I'm going to use the exact same names I did in the first video. I had to go back and honestly remember which names I used, but my close friend Michelle is involved in this story. I've been friends with her for many years, and she met this new girl, Leah, and they met at a previous work environment, and Michelle didn't really know her too much at the time, but Michelle ended up giving her this amazing opportunity. My friend Michelle got Leah the job. I started seeing and hearing about Leah more and more, seeing her on Michelle's socials, Leah, and me and Michelle still talked, and I heard about Leah from her, but I live quite far from Michelle, and at the time we were so consumed with work, living far, we weren't able to see each other for a little bit. We kept in contact, but actually meeting and seeing each other, it's been a while. So she was just growing closer with Leah and like getting to know her, and she really talked highly of her and like made it seem like she was such a nice, fun person, very laid back, very chill. So I was excited for the time that I actually could meet her, and I really did want to meet her. And my friend Michelle did invite me to go to a group situation, and it was the first time of me meeting Leah, and I talk more about all the beginning parts when it comes to her in that video. But to give it a short story, basically, like, I didn't get a good feeling or vibe from her the first time I met her, but I just kept like meeting her, thinking it would get better. Maybe it's just like a bad encounter, maybe it would get better. And to be completely honest, it never got better. She was always miserable, always had an attitude, never seemed happy, never would really smile, barely, which always seemed like she was miserable and negative. And even when we would go out together a few times, be taking photos, and she would look down upon us and talk about us and talk under her breath and give dirty looks. And it's just not what you would think a good friend would do. Usually good friends and girlfriends are like so supportive. Like, you're like, yes, you look so good, keep going, girl, and take the photos. You wouldn't expect your close friend to give you dirty looks and look down upon you and say things under their breath like they're so annoyed by you and roll their eyes. Like, it's just was very like negative environment. Every time I went, I always thought, oh, this time it's gonna be better. I really wanted to be her friend because of my friend Michelle, but it just never got better. And like I said in the beginning, there's something that happened that was super traumatic and scary for me, which I'll get into in just a short bit. So that's like the basis of it. There's so much that happened. Even I'll give you another example. I ended up going on vacation with my friend, and Leah calls my friend Michelle during that time, during the trip, and basically said that she's posting too much on her social media and she needs to stop because it's really annoying and she's annoying people and herself, and like stop posting every single day. I remember hearing this because my friend just put her on speaker. When she picked up, she's just like, hey, what's up? And she's just going off calling her annoying, and I could hear it in the background, and I'm just thinking like, that's so rude. And then on top of it, I took this photo of my friend Michelle, and honestly, it's still one of my favorite photos of her. She looked so amazing. It was such a pretty photo, and she posted it on her social media. And what does Leah do? She goes and points out that photo, and she says something really just gross, and basically she points out a part of her body. You know, like it looks like this, it looks gross, and she's laughing about it. And then my friend's like starting to second guess and be like, oh, is this not like a good photo? Like, should I delete it? Making her basically feel like not confident. And I thought that was so disgusting and so disrespectful. And the hypocrisy of it all is when Leah would go on a trip or would do anything, you would catch her posting on socials trying to make her life look so much better than it is, like she's living this extravagant life. And never once would obviously Michelle call her out on that or care to, because it's just weird. Who cares how much someone posts on their stories or wherever? Like, they can post as much as they want, like that's their business. Everyone does that. It's not a big deal, and it shouldn't offend anyone, especially a close friend. Like, that just doesn't make any sense to me. That is just one example of the type of personality and person this person was. And so time keeps going on, and Michelle's starting to see these little things about Leah and get into little tiffs and disagreements, and they would constantly be on and off, on and off. It felt like it was honestly this like toxic relationship, abusive relationship, and I would just be seeing it from the outside. And it really started to bother me, because if you know my friend Michelle, you know she's a happy-go-lucky girl. She's always smiling, she's always happy, and that's one thing I admire and love about her. And she's been through a lot in life, a lot of stuff growing up, and you would never know that about her. That's always been so admiring to me. You barely catch my friend sad. Like, that's just not her. She's just this bubbly, really nice person that genuinely wants to help people. She'll do anything for you. So to see her become so consumed and like emotional, negative all the time. I'd never seen her cry like ever in our friendship. Like, she would never cry. And she was constantly crying because of Leah making her cry. She was constantly feeling overstressed and just overthinking, thinking there's something wrong with herself, because when Leah would get mad at my friend Michelle, she would just cuss her out. She would just be really rude. And my friend just does not do well with that type of confrontation. And she would just make Michelle feel really horrible about herself and manipulate her to think it's her and not, she's the issue and not Leah. You also never knew which one you're gonna get. It would be really nice one day, and then the next day she was like get out of her way kind of thing, like don't talk to her, snapping on you, not listening to you, rolling her eyes, ignoring you. You never knew which version you got of her. That's super exhausting, and I felt so bad for my friend, because for myself, I distanced myself a lot. I didn't want to be involved ever in the two of them. After I was able to just remove myself, and I wasn't like, thankfully, that involved in the end. But my friend was in this toxic situation where she had to see the person every single day, and it's hard to get out of that. Usually when you have a toxic person, toxic relationship, or anything, you just cut them out and just get rid of them. But when you have to see someone every single day and you have no control of that, it's so difficult, and I can't even imagine that. I'm gonna talk now more about like a couple of things that when I was there, and something that really was scary for me and traumatic and I never talked about, and I always went back and forth and thought about if I should talk about the situation, but it's all alleged because it's something that I can't prove, unfortunately, but I have like suspicions, and this is just what I think, but obviously I won't be able to prove anything. A couple years back, I went to Michelle's birthday party, And Michelle would just wanted to do something kind of small. Like she didn't want to go to a club or bar. So she went ahead and rented out a room and just invited her family and close friends. So it wasn't a lot of us. And it was just like at this like nice little room, and it was really fun. And I went over to Michelle's house and gave her all my gifts and all that. We had a couple glasses of wine, and then we all went into this room that she rented out. All her family came and her friends were starting to come, and we were all just eating food, appetizers. I had like wine a little bit when I was there, but I was just like chatting around with everyone, and it was super fun. And then Leah ends up coming, but Leah comes a lot later. So she ended up coming later on with a friend, and she came with alcohol. I didn't know this at the time because unfortunately I was talking like with my friend's family, and I was going around being a chatterbox, and my fiance at the time was like on the other side with my friend's brothers, and they were just like talking and hanging out there. So I kind of wasn't like talking with my fiance. I was like away from him, and I had no idea that when this person came in, basically was trying to get my fiance to drink this drink and really pressuring and peer pressuring him. And he kept saying like, I don't want it. No, I don't want it. I don't want it. And the friend she was actually with told her like, Leah, leave him alone. Like he said, no, like just get over it. Like stop forcing him. He doesn't want it clearly. So she finally stopped after trying to pressure him so much to take this drink. And I had no idea about that situation because honestly, I was out like talking with everyone, and just like I didn't even see that go down. Now I'm with kind of like the girls, and Leah comes up to me, and she's actually for once being like friendly, and I thought, ooh, like this is my time. I can maybe like talk to her and like we can become friends. And at this point, like I said, I was still trying to be friendly, and maybe we would all be friends and hang out and stuff. This was my mistake. I shouldn't have done this, but she ended up giving me this drink, and she was kind of like, here, take it, and like kind of like pressuring a little bit, but I ended up just taking it. To be honest, I was trying to like fit in, maybe like it was a way for me to talk to her, and I didn't think anything would happen. Obviously at this point I didn't drink much at all, so I was like, whatever, like what is one shot gonna do? I take the drink, and not long after that I don't remember anything. It's all black. I was out of it, out of my mind, didn't know what I was doing. I blacked completely out, and it was honestly so scary. I only know what I hear from my fiance and my best friend. I've never been in that situation before, and it was so crazy to me after to think about it. I always kept thinking about it because I was like, I didn't even drink much at all, and that's never happened to me before. Even my friend was confused because she drank as much as me, but she didn't have that drink I had from Leah, and she was so confused. Everyone was kind of confused, like the people that were super close with me, and I was out of it. So it was around 10:30, 11 at this time. So it wasn't even late at all. Like there was still like supposed to go for a long time, a lot longer. And I remember feeling so bad after the next day because I was like, oh my God, like I ruined your party. Because my friend Michelle ended up going home with me because I couldn't even stand. I couldn't do anything. I wasn't coherent. I wasn't answering. I wouldn't even talk, my fiance said. And I was just so out of it. And I come to find out later that I found out that Leah went up to Michelle and said, why are you going home? Like, let her be. Like, she can do whatever. Like, don't let her ruin your birthday. Like, go have fun. Let's go to the bar now. I thought that was so wrong and disrespectful. Like, I was clearly just incoherent, couldn't talk. Couldn't stand up. I was throwing up after all night, all morning. For the rest of the week, I was stuck in bed. My fiance had to take care of me for an entire week. And my parents also had to take care of me because it went so bad to the point that they were in talks with the hospital, because I probably should have went that day because it was at the point where I was getting, honestly, it could have been close to death. That's how extremely bad it was. And I always think back to that time and I don't get it. And I never understood it. And it was just crazy. Like right after I took this drink, it was like blank. And I've never been to that point where I remember nothing and I couldn't even talk. I felt like numb, like I couldn't talk, couldn't stand, couldn't move, nothing. Like I was just like, had to be carried and had to be taken care of all night long the next day. And for the rest of the week, like my body was just done. Like it was out of commission for so long. That's something that's so scary because I never I obviously don't know. I didn't get tested. I didn't think to at the time. Like, I just like didn't know what the heck happened. And I wish I did, to be honest, because I will never know. I will always have suspicions, but I will never know. And it's something that I don't like to think about because it makes me honestly kind of really upset, because I tried to block that out because it was so traumatic. And I was sick for an entire week, and I've never been to that point where I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And if it was because something happened or something was spiked in my drink, like, that is just so scary to me, because I really felt like I was with people I could trust. Whenever I go out to like clubs and bars before growing up in university and college, like, I would always like make sure I see who's pouring my drink, make sure nothing's in my drink. But obviously I was with like really close people, and it wasn't like at a bar or club situation, so I didn't think I had anything to worry about. And I didn't see the drink or anything being poured. I was just handed something. Next thing I knew, I was out of it. It was horrible, and my fiance and my best friend were so scared for me. I'm sorry, like, this gets me so emotional because it's just really messed up if that were to happen. And I just have like suspicions on that because it just doesn't make sense. I was not drinking in excess for that to happen to me. I've never in my life taken any sort of substance, so it's just so crazy to me. I don't know how that would feel. I don't know anything about that. And then come to find out later that Leah is actually no stranger to substances and continues to use it to this day, different substances and stuff like that. And that's just something that myself and my friend Michelle just not into and don't do. At this point, when that whole situation happened to me, I didn't know Leah enough, and she didn't do all the things that she also ended up doing to my friend Michelle. So at this point, I was just really trusting and just trusted that she's a good person. I said this was like a couple years. A lot has happened since then. And another time actually that reminds me, it's another one of my friend's birthday, is at this point, I couldn't care less. I didn't want anything to do with Michelle. And I remember like, I'll be cordial, say hello, do small talk, but I don't want to get invested, get involved. Like, for me personally, I already could tell that this person was just toxic, not a good person. And I was honestly just didn't want to be involved. And it was my friend's birthday again now. And we actually went out to a restaurant. So my friend just wanted something even more small, just wanted a little restaurant with a few people. And she ended up coming late. She was actually at another party, which we didn't know about. And then she ended up coming to the restaurant, and then she showed up and had this balloons, threw it at my friend, and kind of had like an attitude straight from the jump. And I come to find out that I guess she wanted to sit on my seat and sit next to her, but at this point we were all had our seating arrangements, and we were already like there for a while, and she came late. Friend whose birthday girl wanted me to sit there with my fiance, so I sat there. So she just kind of threw the balloons next to her. She had a really miserable look on her face, like she was really annoyed and angry. And then she was sitting there, and all of the guests at the dinner table could really feel her energy and was kind of like, what's her problem kind of thing. And then come to find out that she was actually on substances and was completely like not there. She was not in the right state of mind, to put it lightly. When we were finished our dinner and stuff, she ended up telling Michelle that she's gonna leave because it's boring, and she's gonna go back to the party. So she ended up leaving and not wanting to stay and have like cake after, and then went back to the party, I guess, that she got those substances from. So all these things, just like the suspicions for me, it just like adds up to me thinking what I think when it comes to my situation. But like I said, I try not to think about what happened to me because it was very traumatic, and it was very scary. And I really thought, like, I was at this point where I thought I was not gonna make it, to be completely honest. Like, it was really, really bad. At this point now, I'm just like kind of on the sidelines. I'm listening to my close friend Michelle and hearing what more things she's doing on top of more things she's doing on top of more things she's doing. And I just am like, you need to get out of this toxic relationship. And sometimes Michelle would try, but it's so hard, once again, because she's seeing her every single day, and it would just go back and forth, back and forth. And it got to the point where Leah is not there any longer at the workplace. It wasn't because of the relationship with Michelle and Leah at all, anything like that. But it was, I guess, meant to be. And it was like, honestly, a weight lifted off. Just talking to her now, like, she feels so much more like lifted, like she's more glowy, more positive, and back to kind of like her bubbly self, because she was so overwhelmed and stressed dealing with it constantly. And I felt so horrible because I couldn't do anything about it. And I'm one that's always been one to defend my friends. That's just me. I'm always the girl that's gonna defend you if I'm your friend. Like, that's just my personality. I can't believe some people are like that. And I feel like, unfortunately, my friend was completely used. And then things came out later. My friend actually saw a bunch of messages after of this person talking behind her back and constantly saying things about her and lying to her face constantly. And it kind of was like the proof in the pudding. She saw it with her own eyes, what really this person was saying the entire time about her and what she was doing behind her back. And it was just completely a backstab. Like, this person was not who she said she was. She was completely fake. It came to light who she really was. I cannot say toxic enough. Even like, I felt like I was on this roller coaster because of course I'm so close with my friend Michelle, and I really care about my friends. And if they're constantly going through something, I'm always there to be the one to listen. And I just feel so bad for them whenever my friends are going through something. I felt like in the end of the day, she needed to see it for herself, and I can only say things so much. I can't force her to do anything. And I knew for myself, I didn't want to be involved with her, especially after all the situations of my birthday, which I talked about in my last video about what happened on her birthdays, and just the other few odd times that I saw her and just not getting a good energy around her, her not caring or being miserable and just not happy. And just, I could never get the image out of my head. I remember being at my birthday and we were all taking photos with my other friend and my friend Michelle. She was just sitting there. We kind of like end up rotating, and she was sitting next to my fiance on the couch, and I could just see her when my friend was getting her photo taken, like her giving like dirty looks at her and saying stuff under her breath, being like, "Ugh, it's enough now, like, oh, come on," like so annoying. We're at this birthday party, we're supposed to be having fun, and she's just judging and just giving the most nastiest looks to my friend, and my friend couldn't even see it because she's just having fun, like getting photos taken of her and like living life. And then there's over here like 2 meters back is this girl that's just completely miserable and judging her and giving her these looks up and down. And I just remember seeing that and being like, no, like this is just not a true friend. The moral, I guess, of the story is I think it's important to realize your worth. Don't surround yourself with people that you feel like are draining the life out of you, that are never supportive, they're difficult. Like, you don't want to be with someone like that. You want to be around someone that actually loves hanging out with you, that's supportive, that has good energy and just loves you. And if you feel like you're in this relationship where you feel like you're never good enough for the person, they always bring you down and never compliment you or make you feel good about anything you're going through in life, any of your accomplishments or milestones in life, if they're always bringing you down, cut them out, because in the end of the day, you'll feel so much better once these toxic people are cut. You will not miss them in the long run because you'll realize that you're so much happier without these people, and you do not need them because they don't serve any purpose for you or your life. If anything, it's just a disservice to you, and you need to love yourself enough to know that you are worth more than that. And you need to love yourself enough to know what your worth is and not surround yourself with people that are going to be so negative and just bring your life down. You want to have people in your life that you enjoy and it's fun to hang out, and there's not always drama every other week, and you guys can laugh. You have to have friends that are like uplifting, bring you up, and it's just fun. Like, it's a way to escape life sometimes when you're dealing with your home life where you're just like kind of stressed with work and stuff. It's always nice to just go to your friends and have fun, and you shouldn't feel like it's draining you. And I've realized this a lot, is you need to love yourself and realize what you deserve. And having all these people that are toxic and horrible to you, it's just kind of, in the end, I feel like can be a reflection that maybe you don't think you deserve what you should. And it's important to soul search, take care of yourself, and you know your worth, because you are worth it. No one should be treated like crap, especially when you're just living, you're just trying to be a good person. No one should be dealing with that kind of stuff. It's just better to let it go, move on, let that person have their life, and hopefully they will wake up and look in the mirror and realize that they need to be a better person and that they are just not a good person. But sometimes people don't wake up and realize, because it's hard to look in the mirror and ever think there's something wrong with you. These people tend to always point their fingers back at you and not at them. them and think that you're the problem and they're not the problem. So I hope you guys enjoyed my story time. Thumbs it up if you guys like my story times. I will link my playlist down below as well as part 1, like I said. I hope you guys are doing well and surround yourself with the love and support. You guys can always leave your stories down below if you feel comfortable, of course. And with that being said, don't forget to click the subscribe button. I do post every single Tuesday and Thursday, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye!